Today we are dominating our opponents in Explorer by playing Rally the Ancestors and pairing that with Zombies Tribal. This deck wins by literally reanimating every single zombie in our graveyard, putting dozens of triggers on the stack to drain out our opponent in one epic final combo move. Now, jumping into our first game, we see the fabled passage that our opponent is going to place. We're going to get some information here about what kind of deck they've got rolling. We've got a very solid start with a 2-drop. I love to see Rally of Ancestors in my opening hand. Now, if you're not familiar, let's look at a couple key cards that this deck needs. Number 1, Rally the Ancestors. This is the combo-centric card of the deck. Return each creature card with mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Exile those creatures at the beginning of your next upkeep. Exile Rally the Ancestors, and this is an X white instant. Now, that is important to know what we are looking for then in a target. So, every single creature in the deck is 1 or 2 mana. That's right, literally every single thing is 1 or 2 mana. So we only need to get to 4 mana plus 2 white pips to be able to do the whole thing with this deck. Now, the other combo side of the piece revolves around both of these cards, Corpse Knight and the Wayward Servant. So whenever another zombie enters the battlefield under our control with the Wayward Servant, each opponent loses 1 and we gain 1. And then Corpse Knight is any creature that enters the battlefield under our control, each opponent loses 1 life. So what happens is you get a couple of these in your graveyard, plus you reanimate a bunch of other small zombies, and for each of these, the Wayward Servant or the Corpse Knight is going to see that enter the battlefield and ping for damage. So right now, the way that we figure out what we need is every creature, minus these are going to count as -1. So every creature that comes in is going to deal 2 damage. So we need to get to about 7 creatures here, 8 creatures here, and we've got the combo. So we're going to fill that up with things like Stitcher Supplier and Mire Triton, and that is literally how the deck works. So no creatures in the graveyard. So we've got our setup, but we're needing to get some draining going. Now I am comfortable here to just continue to swing in with my Stitcher Supplier, take that 1 damage. Every little bit counts to get us even closer to that combo potential, but we do eventually want our Stitcher Supplier to die so we can mill even more cards. We're always managing our graveyard. Obviously, we are susceptible to graveyard hate, but sometimes you're seeing right now, this deck just plays out so many creatures that unless your opponent has a board wipe, you just win by basic, good old-fashioned gain and drain. So our opponent is playing some sort of wedding announcement deck here. Now we're just looking to get as many creatures in the graveyard as possible, and that is going to make us feel quite good. So we're going to do even more gain and drain here. Our opponent, it looks like, was able to gain a good amount of life there, so that is pretty annoying. And we're actually coming up to a point here where we can just Alpha Strike, send in the whole team, deal whatever chip damage we can, probably next turn, and then Rally the Ancestors for one big final blowout at the end. So, great showing here off the kickoff of this deck. This is absolutely fantastic, and I'm very happy that this is how we are starting off this day with this extremely fun deck. I had never played with Rally the Ancestors, and it recently came in the Explorer Anthology, and I'm having an absolutely fantastic time with it. So it's super, super fun. So Wedding Announcement is doing some fun things for our opponent. They're drawing some cards, they're getting some counters, but honestly, we don't even care. Okay, I think it's time. We're just going to go for the blowout here. We'll see if I'm smart enough to get it. I hope they are willing to trade with all of my creatures so that we can reanimate all of them, as long as our Stitcher Suppliers die, which they might choose not to kill those, which would be sad. But we should be able to get a nice big Rally the Ancestors off here. They have a lot of pressure coming in, so this is very, very good. They're going to kill a lot of our creatures. I would love it if they would kill a Stitcher Supplier, but they might be smart. They might know what we're going for here, and they might not let us do that. So let's get a nice quick creature count. 1 in the grave. Plus, let's see what we end up with. 9. So with our 2 creatures that died, we only need about 5 creatures. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got it. Let's go ahead and do it right now. And then let's watch the deck go burr. All the Corpse Knight triggers go on the stack. Obviously, it sees all the Zenners, all the Wayward Servants, and I'm actually, looks like I miscounted, and we were 1 off. But there we get an extra Lazotep Reaver trigger, and it seals it. Helps me out on my missed math. Let's keep going and get some more games with this awesome Rally the Ancestors zombie deck in Explorer. Alright, looking at our opener, as I said, we're looking for some ways to fill the yard. If we can find a Rally the Ancestors, that's great. And we've got both colors. We can play with a really low to the ground number of opening hands here. We don't need a bunch of lands in our opener, so that is super nice. So we're going to get to start off here, put down this black mana. We love throwing blockers in the way, so we actually have a very effective matchup, I think, against mono red and the aggro deck, because this is a wonderful trade for us. They usually don't run a lot of pump spells in Explorer. Karizev will be pretty obnoxious, but Reaver might be able to help us out a little bit with that. Let's see. First Strike Menace is just going to get in for damage, so I think we need to set up a blocker for this Ragavan. In which case, I like putting down the Reaver. Next turn, we can put down a Mire Triton. That all seems pretty good to me. I'm feeling pretty good. We're going to have a bunch of chump blockers, and then we're going to set up that big play at the end. Now, they might be able to outspeed us. Karizev is obviously an extremely good card. First Strike Menace, tough to deal with. And we don't have anything big to throw in front of us. So it is going to get a lot of KOs, but I think we can handle it. Bone Crusher is unfortunate there. We at least do get to block the monkey. We get to let the Supplier die, which is very positive for us. Big bonus. That's great. We will happily mill our 3. Meathook would actually be great in this matchup. I do love to see that, though. Let's go ahead and get our second white source down. Only spell with double mana is Rally the Ancestors. Everything else is only 1 white or 1 black plus some. There's no other double color spells. Now the question is, do I put this down now and let myself get some slow gain? Let's go ahead and mill first. Let's do that. I like the Mire Triton here. Could be a nice blocker in case they throw down like a Bone Crusher Giant, have that nice death touch. So I might try to keep this alive. This can block the monkey or the Firebrand if it wants to come out with Firebrand. This is a good blocker for this Bone Crusher, so we'll probably hold off for that. Right now, we're lacking on creatures in the grave. Choose blocks, happily throw this token away. And we're not doing too bad. We're at 18 after they've got 3 lands out. That's not terrible. We've got a great blocker for the Bone Crusher. Fatal Push, perfect. That will be super helpful here. It is going to make it awkward where I'm not going to be able to make a big play, but let's just go ahead and Fatal Push this Karizev now. It's causing a lot of problems. Double white is a little unfortunate here, but I just want to do that while they have no mana up, no shenanigans going on, no pumping going on, just in case. Don't even want to give them the opportunity to get to the attack step, and now I'm not feeling too bad. Alright, they are going to be able to slam down for a lot with this Bone Crusher now. So we definitely need to get something rolling quickly, but even using a defensive Rally the Ancestors to bring back a Mire Triton to block while they attack is pretty good. So if we can hit a land here, then I will be feeling pretty decent. We'll be able to probably clear their board and set ourselves up. It is unfortunate they get in for a lot of damage there, but hopefully we can get a little bit of life gain going while we set up for a long play of 2 Rally the Ancestors plays here. Another Mire Triton is not bad. Would have rather seen a land, but this will get us by. I would love to see one of these Wayward Servants get in the graveyard as well so that we could gain some life back whenever we do the small Rally the Ancestors play. But we'll see how it shakes out. They probably have a lot of burn spell type removal to get rid of this Mire Triton, so I'm not banking on that exactly like that. And now we are actually in a bit of a pickle. So I said we had a good matchup, and I still think the deck does have a good matchup. But this is obviously showcasing how the deck could potentially lose. We're not hitting our lands, and we might just get lightning struck out. There's the loss. So they played well. They had a good run on the deck. I think it was a little bit of a bad showing for the deck, but let's keep rolling into game 3. Interesting choice here to mill a lot. I think we go ahead and just keep this. Start off with the Supplier. Drop that down and see what we can put in the yard. Lovely. Except for the Ancestor. There is currently no way to bring back the Rally the Ancestors from the graveyard. So that is a bit of a problem. But usually you find what you need and it just kind of all works out. Okay, awesome. We got a couple of our Wayward Servants in the grave, so that is fantastic. Getting 2 of those down. If we can pop off a nice big Rally of the Ancestors, then we are really, really doing well. Okay, Fatal Push. I think I'm interested in just hitting this Gifted Aetherborn now. That puts in so much life gain. Makes it a little bit harder for us to do the things we're trying to do. So we're just going to go widespread aggro here for a bunch of chip damage. Start swinging in and doing that. So our opponent is playing the Warlock class plus Gifted Aetherborn. So this is most likely some form of mono black devotion that we are seeing here. It's a pretty fun deck that I'm a fan of, so that's nice. Our opponent is slow playing here, so I'm just going to cut ahead to if they make a play or not. Okay, our opponent is apparently still here for the game. See the Blood Chief's Thirst. Removal does not bother us at all. We want those in the graveyard anyway, so if they're spending resources to do that, it's totally fine with us. Wishclaw Talisman to probably find them the eventual Gray Merchant of Asphodel. But if they're not going to put out any blockers or creatures of any kind, we might just literally run over them with little bits of chip damage from our little tiny zombie army here. Underworld Dreams is going to start dealing damage to us when we draw cards. And then they are, of course, as I said, setting up that... Let's see, we can return a creature or planeswalker this way. So we'll go ahead and put down Stitcher Supplier again. They're pinging us for damage, but they're not stopping us from swinging wide. So that's feeling pretty good. We've got enough in the graveyard to finish them off easily. If we can find one of our last 3 copies of Rally of the Ancestors plus another white source. My land base is not the best right now. I am certainly a budget player. I haven't spent $0 on the game, but I've spent probably less than $100 over the past couple of years on this game. I did buy the Explorer Anthology to help me get some decks for the channel, but I do not have the best dual rare lands. So Meathook is going to put in a lot of work, though. We really need to draw into a Rally the Ancestors at this point and that white source, for sure. That will be very important. Okay, there's the Rally. Now we just need to find that white source, and we are good. What do we want to bring back here? We can bring back 1 card of our choice. Let's bring back a Mire Triton, give us a nice blocker. It's got that 2 power to start getting in for some damage. Go ahead and attack, get in for 1. I think we're okay. I mean, literally we just have to find a single white source and we win, as long as they don't have anything to make us discard some cards. But who knows what they're going to have. They're setting up for a big drain play, so they also are probably approaching lethal with a Gray Merchant of Asphodel. Yeah. Oh, man, Thoughtseize. Of course they hit a Thoughtseize right now. That's backbreaking. That literally, and there's our white source, of course. Now, luckily, they have given us a Wishclaw Talisman, which is going to be their undoing. So we get to go grab our Ancestors and bring it right back. So they took the risk of giving us a tutor for 1 mana, and look at this amazingly huge army. Crazy combo. Love it. Let's keep going into game 4. Once again, a totally fine opener. We have a 1-2 play plus the Ancestors plus all of our colors. This is a great start. Just hoping we don't see another Thoughtseize. It is a super unfortunate start. It's the only card in the format, really, that people are playing that can disrupt this kind of opener. But we do see black, and it's an extremely popular card, so there's not a too small of a chance that we may see that. Okay, feeling good here. Let's go ahead and drop down a Corpse Knight, set up that early gain and drain, or just set up that drain, not gain, in this early game against our opponent here, so that we can whittle them down so that we don't need a perfect Rally of the Ancestors, but rather just a pretty good one. Also, this deck is pretty fun. You get a lot of short games in. You get to put threats down early. You're typically curving out very easily. Turn 4, you've normally got a double spell of some kind. It's quite fun. So that's, you know, just like I said, we don't really care about that. We will have to play around potentially some counter magic here, as we don't really know what exactly they're doing yet. We'll hold up an extra black here for that fatal push. So that's good. We get to mill 2. We're putting several creatures in the yard already. Double Corpse Knight is fantastic. We're going to swing in for one more bit of chip damage. And we'll see what our opponent's got here for us. No. Okay, and it looks like our opponent is not interested in making a play, so they're playing something very instant speed, it would appear. Let's see if they're interested in interacting with this Lazotep Reaver. This deck doesn't have many spells you want to counter except Rally the Ancestors, but if they're smart, they'll hold back and wait for a big Rally the Ancestors play that they can hit. They might even be willing to stop a Plumb the Forbidden, so we shall see. But I'm sure we'll find a place to sneak this card in, especially since we're going to be able to put so much pressure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 damage next turn coming at them if they don't have a play. Plus, we've got a Fatal Push, which is going to be really great. So, and they just left up 4 mana unused. That's a bad sign for our opponent. It doesn't seem like they're in a very good position. Now, that's very sad. But we can do them better and turn all of... We were going to lose life for all of these anyway. Plumb the Forbidden, one of my favorite tech cards in that I've actually added to the list. I haven't seen anybody else playing this. I'm running 4 of. I think it's that good. Totally refill our hand here. We make them miss out on the drain or life gain, whichever side of it is, for the Meathook Massacre. And now we're just ready to roll. So absolutely love that. We are going to drop down a Servant and then another Servant, and we might even just drain them out the old-fashioned way. No Rally the Ancestors needed as we get right under that Meathook Massacre. I love that play there. Super fun. Let's see if they can bounce back from that after we just completely refilled our whole mitt. Now, funny enough, we are kind of just at the start of a new game, basically. Ugh. Exiling each of those does kind of hurt. But we've got another Servant right here, so that's fine. And then we're also going to put down this Reaver, get a little more drain. I wish those would have just died and not been exiled, but we've got a nice chunk of cards, plus double Quartz Knight in the grave. Okay, so let's see. Let's do our math correctly this time. Let's count. These count as 1, because they don't count themselves, and all other creatures count as 2. So we've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We've got 10 damage in the yard at the moment if we pop off the Rally of the Ancestors right now. So let's go ahead and swing in. We have them at lethal if they don't make any plays. So let's see what they're interested in doing here. Drown in the Lock. Okay, that's fine. That actually helps us get even closer to what we needed. It's fine. Now the question is this 2 mana a counterspell? I feel like it is. But with adding this Wayward Servant, we've definitely got lethal if we can get the Rally the Ancestors off. So the question is, when do we find the room to fit it in? I'm kind of leaning towards that they probably have a counterspell. We've seen Drown in the Lock. So I am going to take a small risk here. We're going to play Mire Triton. We're going to play aggressive, try to bait them into needing to remove our creatures on the battlefield, and then once they tap out, hopefully, eventually, we can make them tap out. So we've got by far enough to bring it back and seal the deal. At this point, it's just a matter of waiting until the opening that we think is there. Oh, man. And here's our opening, but I didn't leave up enough mana, so I should have just waited. But yeah, now we've got to let them do that. They're going to look at the top 2 and get access to those. That's fine. They also could have... They probably still had counter magic up. We probably made the right call. If that's a rally, that'd be unfortunate for us. But we still really need them to tap out for us to be confident. But we've also put a good amount of pressure, even 4 damage swinging in. That's not nothing. They do have to respond to that in a way that is meaningful, that's for sure. Okay, so we'll go to our turn. Love seeing that, actually. Let's put down another black. Let's swing in for 4, put a little pressure on. Putting some pressure on here. Great. And then let's see what they're going to do. Siphon Insight again. They leave up specifically 2 mana. Let's go ahead and do this. We've got 1 Rally in the yard, 1 in hand. So we also don't get to know what that card is, which is sad. Okay, now that they're down to a single black, I think we just go for the win right here. X2, I'm pretty confident we get it. It resolves. Boom, that's another win. We might have had it the whole time, but I like playing it safe, and I love seeing all those triggers go on the stack. It's so satisfying. Let's get another one. Okay, a little bit of an awkward start here, but I like having an early Plumb the Forbidden. Meathook could be insane in the right matchup. Insanely good. Let's keep this one. I'm definitely not a pro with this deck, so if you guys see any mistakes, let me know. But I think we're going to keep this. It feels like this is maybe a mulligan hand, but I kind of want to test it out and just see what happens. All right, that's nice. Let's get down a Servant followed by a Knight. That alone feels pretty good if they don't put pressure on. They're playing... Okay. So, enchantments most likely. That's going to... Enchantment spells cost 1 less to cast. That's going to grow. So, we don't want that to grow. We're going to hit it now. We're going to drop a Corpse Knight. We're going to swing in. We're going a little bit of aggro here. And then we're going to hold off for defense and hope for a nice Fatal Push or a big Meathook Massacre. Or maybe even Plumb the Forbidden. We'll see. Another Mystic. Alright, so I'm guessing they're not interested in trading these, but let's go ahead and test the waters. Lovely. And I think that's a good enough card. We just Fatal Push it now because it gets a cast trigger. So let's just hit that now. I like holding up a Plum here. Not a lot of... No milling going on, so we're not setting up a big play just yet. So Rally might not be as good in this matchup. This will be a little interesting. Create a 4/2 Green Beast. Whenever a cartouche enters the battlefield, return Trial of Strength to its owner's hand. Okay. Interesting. Kind of fine, I feel like. That's less fine. Ooh, 5/3 First Strike. This Cartouche of Solidarity is insane. Okay, you get those. This goes back. That all seems kind of bad. Well, we definitely start throwing some things away. Here's what I want to do. I want to get in for more chip damage. Let's swing right here, and then we're going to Plumb the Forbidden. We'll let whatever gets blocked right there die. We're not too concerned with the damage we take at the moment. I'll let that creature die. We'll keep our Corpse Knight. We'll draw 2. Look for a land. Plan to drop this Corpse Knight. Perfect. We set up a Rally of the Ancestors. Love it. We're going to pay 2. We're going to put down this Corpse Knight, which we're okay with this trading here because we want stuff in the grave now. With all 3 of these will all count as 2 damage, so we're up to 6 damage if both of these die. We're kind of just looking for one more creature to hit the yard. Ooh, that's not good, though. That messes up our math pretty big. Luckily, we do have X3 right here this turn. We also can just Fatal Push it. If they're going to play this probably and make another one. So I think I just want to save it for a nice Meathook Massacre. I think that's what I want to do, because they're probably going to make another one. They do. We can block here since our creature's going to die to the Meathook Massacre anyway. Massacre will help gain and drain. Okay, perfect. They'll both get hit for 3. They're not going to get lifelink this turn. Love it. This is great. So we are playing against... I've never seen an actual cartouche deck. So that's pretty cool. I've never actually seen this deck. So we're going to block right here. Perfect. My turn. Good game, they say. Good game indeed. X3, gotcha. And they give it to us. Fantastic. Let's keep going. Alright, once again, we're getting into another game here. I think this is a keeper. We've got double land. We can put down the Hagramoling as a land, which I think I do like that in this case. We're going to go ahead and start with 2 mana. We'll add this as our 3rd black source. Because I want to start off with a Stitcher Supplier into a Corpse Knight. Love seeing these 2 creatures get put in there early. Feeling like a pretty nice start for us. Let's see what our opponent here, Kaminiaha, is playing against us. Okay, our opponent taking their time there to get down their single island. They really had to think hard about it. We'll see how active they are. This might be a video for some cuts so that you guys don't have to sit through a lot of wait times, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Spectral Sailor, nice early play. Would love to see that trade, but I doubt they're going to do it. Yep, that makes sense. It would be silly for them to take that trade. That would not be smart. Probably playing Mono Blue Spirits, but it also could be a Mono Blue Tempo deck. So we'll see if they want to put down the Curious Obsession or... Okay, there they go. Shacklegeist can block only creatures with flying. Can also be used to tap some other stuff down. In this case, I might want to hold on to the Hagramoling. We might need a decent amount of removal. But I do want to just hit this Shacklegeist now. Once they get multiple creatures out, it gets pretty hard to take them down. And Shacklegeist tapping things down is pretty obnoxious. But they normally have a lot of counter magic available to them. So I'm interested in going for quite a few kill spells here early, making them burn their resources, seeing if they're interested in any trades, and then going from there. This can only block creatures with flying, so that's a pretty safe bet for us, that we're going to get some damage in here. Yeah, we'll go ahead and set up the Hagramoling, and we'll use this as a spell, actually, now that I see what's going on. Let's see if they're willing to make the Sailor for Supplier trade. That would be insanely good for us, but I doubt they're that silly. That's good. This can hit anything, so let's go ahead and Fatal Push the Shacklegeist. I'm not interested in this sticking around. Tap 2, untap Spirit. You control the tap target creature you don't control. Does put in a lot of work, especially since we are playing more the aggro role here. And we're going to go ahead and Fatal Push there. And I'm feeling pretty good. So let's see, still looking for that second white source. Really need to upgrade the land base. Supreme Phantom will be the target of our Hagramoling, so that's great. And we're just going to hope that they do not have that counter magic, but they probably do. Just 2 cards in hand though, so maybe not. We'll see. We will see. I'm still fine to throw these into this to see what they're interested in. Okay, probably should have saved removal for something like a Supreme Phantom. Now that I'm thinking it out, Shacklegeist isn't as brutal for our deck to go up against. Okay, we're totally fine with this. We get to mill 3. And let's see, 2 of these in there. So these are 1. And what else? And a Corpse Knight. So these are 2, 5, 7, 10. We're 10, 13, 15 damage off of this rally. I think we're fine. We're going to go for it. They've got 1 spell left in hand. If that is a counter spell, the last one in hand, then they just get to beat us. So let's go ahead and see if we can get it. We're going to take the risk that the last spell they have is not a counter spell. It could be. Oh no! Alright, so now we're going to have to try to weasel our way back or just draw a Lucky Rally of the Ancestors. So that's unfortunate that they did hit that. Mausoleum Wanderer is going to grow and become a problem. But really, we just have to get lucky and top deck a Rally of the Ancestors at this point. We got them into a situation where the last card in their hand had to be a removal counter magic, and they had the counter magic. Sometimes that's just how magic works, unfortunately. But we've got a nice full yard. If we can get off a Rally of the Ancestors, we will be able to pull it out for the win. Also, not the worst thing in the world would be a Plum to draw us a couple cards. And we've only seen 1 rally, so we've got a 3 in 39 chance of winning this game. They also have some nice card draw coming from the Sailor, so they've probably secured the win. Curious Obsession probably going to draw them into what they need. They've got a ton of flying damage. Sometimes it just be like that. We had a one-on-one card, and they got us. We've probably only got 1 turn of life left also. So it's kind of got to be right now, or we get the L. Got to be Rally this card. Let's go. Heart of the cards, baby. Show me that Rally the Ancestors. Show it to me. That's not a Rally the Ancestors, so they got this one. But I think that was a fun, good matchup. Let's keep going. Okay, awkward seeing double Rally. Would be nice if we are against Counter Magic again, but I think Fatal Push into a Mire Triton, and then we can plumb the Triton if we need to, is kind of fine here for an early start. Okay, very nice here as well. We also see the Wayward Servant. Love to see that. Being able to throw that into the yard. Okay, we're probably going to see something pretty aggressive. So this Mire Triton and this Fatal Push will probably both be pretty sweet for us. Okay, Bard class, this is definitely the Legendaries Tribal Red-Green deck. It's very fun. I've never played it myself. I don't have the cards. But effectively, Bard class lets you reduce the cost of your Legendaries by red and a green, and they enter with a +1/+1 counter, which lets you just play so many low-drop Gruul Legendaries. It's very, very cool and very, very effective. Okay, Domri also puts in a lot of work. We don't need to counter anything anyway, so that's fine. Sets up the fighting and pumps all the creatures. I still think we kind of want to... What do we want to do here? We can go with a big Rally. See, double Rally isn't really a play because you exile everything. Unless you get a couple Suppliers in there. Plus the Mire Tritons are pretty good too. I think we swing... I think we actually play defensive here. I think they're going to have to attack. I think we play defensive. We're going to put down a Servant. Doesn't have anything with haste yet, so we're going to play out, tap out, hold up this Fatal Push for later. Try to get a bunch of stuff in the yard. That's pretty good. If we draw a land, an early Rally is on. Okay, ramping. Kodama. It's a good one. And then into Halana and Elena. First strike. That's pretty brutal. The trample is going to absolutely annihilate us. Luckily, let's see. We can block, like, this is not bad. We at least get to KO that Kodama, but we take a lot of damage in the process. So it might be time for an early Rally, and then hope that our Stitcher Supplier plus our Mire Triton, yeah, really just those two, is enough. Plus we'll gain a bunch of life. I think that's our play. I think we just pass it over. Mire Triton will be a good blocker for anything he swings in except Halana and Elena. But this doesn't have trample right now, so that's good. I think we're in an okay place. Not a great place, but an okay one. Okay, they just see a land, so we're probably taking 2. It's fine. Another Bard class. Puts in a lot of work. All their legendaries cost 4 less. That's a 7/6 now. Holy cow. Okay. Alright, we're going to need a nice Rally here. But I think we're going to also be able to clear the board here. So that feels good. And we're going to gain and drain a lot. I don't think it's KO, though. Okay, 1 Stitcher Supplier, 1 Corpse Knight in the grave. Okay, decent. And then we can put this here. And then we'll just throw everything else in front, because we actually want everything to die. So we're going to do like that and see what happens. Hope everything dies, and then another Rally on our turn. Actually, we'll seal the deal. So this is enough to get the KO on them as well. Perfect. A lot of things don't die, though, which is sad. But we have a Wayward Servant and a Corpse Knight. This is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ooh, we're at 6 damage. Okay, we got to put this Corpse Knight down, and then even if it dies, then we still have enough to rally back for a win, as long as they don't gain any life. So we're not in a terrible spot here again. Might not seem like it, but we're actually in a pretty decent position. But we actually want this knight to die, which is a weird place to be. Actually, we can just plumb the Forbidden here. We are totally fine. If they don't put anything with haste out, we get to sack this to the Forbidden, and then we are totally fine. Okay, no problem. He's just going to play out everything he has for the moment. Wow, they get to just cycle into so many cards here. And he's going to get to give haste, which is fine. Yeah, they get to really, really roll. When they start doing whenever you cast a legendary spell, exile the top 2 cards of your library, play them, that gets pretty nuts. He should have spent his red mana, I feel like, to give haste and attack there. So we're going to sack right here, and then I'm pretty sure that is enough to set us up for the win. So we're going to exile this X2, and I'm pretty sure, if I've done my math right, we've got another dub. Seems like it. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you want to watch another one of my videos, click on that right over there, and I appreciate you hanging out today. Have a nice day, my friend. You're awesome.